Let's do this. La 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 la. Hello, Spokane. Switching to Geico is affordable. I love commercials. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. The Macho Man. Look at my hair. I love it. My hair is so foot. All right. Oh, look, glareage from the sun right at this angle. So I'll be going into it here in a minute. Holy shit, it is a beautiful day. I am on my way to UPS to drop off a bunch of packages full of cooling mods. I wish it was a much larger bulk of cooling mods. Yes, happy June to you as well. Nice guns. I usually keep them in the office. Oh wait, these little things? My little pistols? Mis pistolas. Está muy pequeño. Oh, look at these rocks this truck's leaving on the ground. Holy shit ball, that's a boulder. Nope, just little. Going to UPS, draw some cooler mods. I wish it was a much bigger shipment. But my wife's been really lazy. No, I'm just kidding. We don't have material. I got shit stuck in customs again. Because customs, I don't know, they may get tired of the government fucking you in the ass. Like, sorry to start the fucking stream off with that, but, and I'm sorry if you listen to this at work and I just said effing you in the A. But man, it's annoying. I get shit stuck in customs all the time. And they're like, you need to submit your importer number. I'm like, yes, I did 2 years ago, a year ago, 6 months ago, 4 months ago, last week, you know, and it just sits there and sits there and sits there and delays everything. It's really annoying. But anyways, I want to talk to you about the Fast and Furious paradox. I just made it up. I just made it up because I just got another one of those holy shit, also annoying phone calls about my extended warranty expiring. Yeah! And they're like, this is our final warning. We're gonna give you one more chance to let you, renew your warranty that's about to expire. And I was like, shit, my warranty is so expired, I never had one! And then I realized, oh my god, that's Fast and Furious. It's Fast and Furious. You almost had me? Me? You never had me. Just like you never had your car. You're so fucking bad at racing, the car that you drove here didn't exist. You didn't have it. You didn't have the car that you drove here to race me, to lose to me to, because you're so fucking bad at racing. That's just like my extended warranty. It's so expired. I never had it. I never even had my fucking warranty. That's how fucking expired it is. Holy shit. Dom is a genius. And I don't mean this Dom. I mean that Dom. But not those. But the big ones. That plane is fucking low. I hope he makes the runway. Holy shit. Mushroom cloud. Oh, he's hauling ass. Low and slow. No. Going low. Wow, he's really low. Holy fuck. I guess that private jet is now a crowd duster. I gave them info for an 08 WRX. Oh, 88 CRX. Oh, right on. Yeah, it's like your brain automatically associates Subarus and shit. Like, of course, the camera's bouncing, the phone's bouncing around in the car and all that. 88, yeah, that'd be awesome. Do you have a VIN number for an 88 CRX? If you do, shoot me one. I'll do the same thing. They'll be like, sir, we already have 4 people with this fucking policy on this car. I'm like, huh. We should all just share a VIN to a car. Maybe one of my totaled BMW. That's what we'll do. My 07 that Chase fucking smashed in telephone pole like 100 miles an hour and lived. We should share the VIN number for that, and then all of us. Oh shit, that plane's coming in too. Wow. Oh, he's going the other runway. Share that VIN number, and all of us give them the information for that and see what they have to say. That'd be good. You ready? The number WVA 985. I'm just kidding. No, I don't. It was WBNA. I think is what it was. But Stupid Beamers. Anyways, we had a question. Let me see if I can get to that while driving super responsibly. Let's see. Hi, Dom. I had a question about your balls. Are they still blue? No, they're good now. I had a question on AVCS on a 20 WRX. What is the normal range for AVCS when driving? Normal driving, it will go around 20. Not sure if it will go around 20. Not sure if it's normal or not. So the AVCS on the FA is different. It's got like, for intake, it's got a negative and a plus. So it has, how do I say this? In the EJs, the AVCS is advance only, and then when you reduce the duty cycle, it goes to 0, which is full retard. There we go for retard. And with the FA, they have range in both directions. And often in cruise, that car will be negative. Now, which one you use or what type of AVCS curve you use on the FA depends greatly on your mods. If you still have TGV deletes, then you want to go closer to the factory curves. But if you don't have TGVs anymore, you need to alter the maps drastically. If you have EGR disabled for some reason, which I don't recommend because there's no point, but if you do, then you need to use different curves. Because AVCS is timed in such a way that it provides just the right amount of pressure between the exhaust and the intake for the EGR to function correctly when you're cruising. I guess no one's going, I'm going. So I can't tell you what's normal necessarily for you because it's going to depend on what you're doing. Oh, fuck, I had music going again. God damn it, copyright infringements out the ass. So it's going to depend on how your car is modified and what you're going for. From the factory, they have a really wide LSA. Make sure I'm saying that right. Is that right? Because they advance, yeah, they retard. Yeah, they go really wide LSA, and then utilize the external EGR to go into the manifold or just pumping losses. And if you get rid of the external EGR, you need to go with high overlap to give you an internal EGR to minimize pumping losses and that kind of stuff. So the best way to do that is if you, for some reason, delete your EGR and you also delete your TGVs, then take your AVCS mapping for TGVs open and copy that into closed. And do the same for your ignition advance because the TGVs affect your burn. If you notice, the timing on TGVs closed is lower because the tumble that the TGVs create gives you a faster burn and therefore necessitates a lower ignition curve. And so if you're getting rid of TGVs, you're slowing the burn in cruise, and so therefore you should copy over the TGV open map to closed because it's never going to be closed, right? And then you'll have a good starting point for your ignition advance. Like Subaru already gave you, the TGV delete timing essentially as a starting point, right? And AVCS by having those maps open and shut. If you compare the two, what you'll see is that there's a really big difference. Where am I going? 60-55, okay. There's a really big difference between the timing in cruise with TGVs open and shut. And then if you look at the EGR maps, they have time maps for EGR. You can see how the EGR slows the burn down because with EGR comp, it adds a bunch of timing, right? So you can see the effects of both of those systems. Man, that nerve is still not right. I thought I'd wear a watch today to see if my nerve was feeling okay, but ever since my surgery, I got this dead zone in my arm, and when I wear a watch, it pushes on my arm in a spot that makes it feel like I'm taking like an ice pick and jamming it in my wrist. It's really a bummer. They said this would go away, but I don't know. It's been a few months, and it's still really numb and tingly, and this watch still hurts, so this is coming back off. Anyways, if you look at the if you look at the EGR time maps to see that when the EGR is at its most effective point, i.e. in cruise, when the overlap is, and you have to look at AVCS, reference that, and see how the AVCS is timed out, you see that when there's vacuum for EGR, that it kills your burn speed, and therefore they add like 9 to 12 degrees of timing on the EGR map. So get rid of the EGR, external EGR, get rid of that, then speeds the burn back up because you're not polluting the cylinders with non-combustibles. Now I say pollute, and that's probably not the right term because that EGR is desirable for lots of reasons. So maybe pollution is a little harsh. But yeah, so you can look at that, and you can look at the the timing and ABCS curves for TGVs open and close, and see what you do for deleting those, things like that. So whatever's normal, like I said, depends on what mods you have and how you have that program. Holy shit, what's going on? But for the most part, those cars are really tolerant of ABCS, and you can really feel free to fuck with them a lot. And see what you like, because you can get the gas mileage up to almost 40 miles per gallon with ABCS alone, and that's nice. But it does hurt throttle response. I mean, that's what it's supposed to do, right? It has a large internal EGR, reduces torque, which opens the throttle blade, which reduces pumping losses, which improves your fuel economy. But you gotta make sure that if you're doing that internal EGR action with a lot of overlap, that you also add enough timing in cruise that you get a good efficient burn. So, I know that's a lot of shit, and I don't have no idea if to answer your question or not. So I can't tell you what's normal because it really depends on what your mods are and how you're tuned. But nothing seems wrong with 20. Let's see, the extended warranty on your Aston Martin Vantage is expired. Yeah, I junked it. I have the dash and VIN. Oh, that's funny. My friend actually just got an Aston Martin too. Thoughts on Kia Stinger GT 6-cylinder twin turbo? I have a coworker destroyed the trans. I like the Kia Stinger. I think it's cool. I'm not gonna lie. I like the Kia Stinger. when they first announced it, like in 13 or some shit, or 12 or whatever, I got on the mailing list like immediately because I was like, I want one of these. Because they were saying it was going to be twin turbo 6-cylinder with a manual, and they ended up only doing the turbo 4 with a manual, and the 6 was an auto. And I think I discussed yesterday why that would be, why so many manufacturers are doing that, because the power's going up in reliability and torque control and all that shit. So, coworker destroyed the trans in his WRX. He found a dealership to dump it on. Maybe I missed something in that message. I might have missed the link between those two. Oh, okay, so he's looking for a car to buy because he's getting rid of his WX. Sure. Yeah. The Stinger is really cool. There's a little bit of a gap in the market for tuning on those. They have stuff. I think fucking Burger even has JB4 for it. A couple people have some things for them, but it's pretty limited. And I wish there was more tuning options for them, more direct ECU and less piggyback stuff. And I think there could be. I think that just no one's really putting the effort, to doing it. It's kind of interesting, the aftermarket, right? Like, a manufacturer can make a cool car. Like, I thought the Genesis was fucking sweet, the Genesis Coupe, and it had the recipe for being the next tuner car. Wow, there it is. Stupid thing. Pissed off the great daddy gods in the sky, apparently. They didn't like that I was streaming or something. I don't know what it was. But I all of a sudden lost signal. And yeah, I was in the middle of talking about how cool the Stingers were. But they're cool. And then the aftermarket for the Genesis just not making it, even though I think it had everything it needed. A little heavy, but I think it had everything it needed. I just was at the auction house picking up some ammo. This is America! The fucking germs! Oh yeah. There's where I get my guns. That's where I pick them up at. You order them online and you can pick them up at the FFL, local FFL. Without a background check, it's a loophole! Just kidding, you absolutely have to have a fucking background check. There's no loopholes. None of that shit. No gun show loophole doesn't exist. Anyways, yeah. So they took our gerbs. I got ammo. I like guns. I thought this was America. The Kia Stinger's cool. The Genesis I thought had the recipe, but apparently I was wrong. And then the Fast and Furious Paradox with the spam phone calls. And if you just joined us, the Fast and Furious Paradox is my extended warranty being about to expire or has expired. Those phone calls you get all the time. This is your last chance to renew your extended warranty. And it's the extended warranty that I never had. I never had. Just like Brian Spillner never had his car. That was the Fast and Furious Paradox. Holy shit, that car wash is floated. Dude, it is fucking beautiful today. It's 86 according to the car while we're rolling. My house says it was 85. And yesterday was 91, and it's only 11, so it's gonna be like 90-something degrees today. It is blue freaking sky. It is visibility for freaking miles. It is a nice day today. I'm loving it. I actually have all the windows down and open. I did yesterday, and I would too right now with the exhaust flap open and all that stuff, letting all the fuckboys out and the fresh air in. But it's hard to stream with wind noise. Any other questions I can answer since we're here? Since I'm driving and doing the responsible thing. Ooh, look at the red light. I am from Canada. I like Subarus and guns. 2, does that make me bad? No, it makes you American. Welcome to the country. Let's see. Yeah, I know Canada's got some whack gun laws. My buddies are telling me, like, where they live, you have to register the gun and then provide the authorities of the location of that firearm where it's kept. And then if you're going to go to the range, you have to call them and tell them you're going to the range, and you can't make any stops. Like, you're not even supposed to stop for, like, gas or supplies or any of that shit. Like, you have to go from one place to the other. And if you're outside of that and they catch you, then you're, like, big time busted. That sounds like some bullshit right there. Like, can you imagine, like, oh man, I'm gonna go shooting today. Let me call the police and tell them I'm moving my gun. And you jump in your truck and you start going, and you go, oh fuck, I'm almost out of gas. I have to go home and drop off my guns to turn around and go get fucking gas, to go back home again to get my guns, to drive to the fucking range to shoot them. And the only place I'm allowed to shoot them. Like, that sounds stupid. I don't know if all of Canada is that way or if that's just, you know, Saskatchewan or BC or wherever the hell that he lives. I forget which one he's in, which province, or if that's all of it. I got a gun on me right now, Americans say. I actually don't today, which is surprising. No, it's not surprising. I don't usually carry a gun. I haven't done that in a while. I did in Washington, like, all the time, because there's a lot of fucking bums over there that you gotta watch out for. But I haven't done much in Idaho. I think because everybody else is carrying one, I'm fine. Just kidding. I don't have my Idaho license. They have constitutional carry because you can, because you're a citizen. But I like to be. I don't like skating that line. It's all fucking bullshit. You know, there's just shit that I want to deal with on a daily basis right now. So I haven't been. Sorry, my phone's overheating. That's the problem. Turns out, and, it's dropping data and stuff because it's overheating. So I've had it sit in the sun and I'm streaming. So I'm gonna have to stop the stream. I got it sitting in front of the AC right now, trying to cool it off, but it's not happy with me. That's one of the downsides to strapping your freaking phone to your screen in the sun while you're driving around in 100 or 80-something degree weather. But yeah, if you're a gun lover, welcome. Come to the Discord. Come chat with me sometime. If you're a tuning lover, or you want to learn how to do it, or you want to learn more about it, or even just want to get a better idea of what the guy you're paying to do it's doing, come by the Discord. Let's chat about it. I've got that subscription service. Had quite a few people actually subscribe in the last month since I started it, and we've had lots of really good discussions. And I feel like I've helped a lot of people already because they're like, holy shit, I never even thought about it that way. There are things that we're doing. In the Discord and talking about that you're not going to get at almost any tuning school, plain and simple. They never go into it as in depth as we are, And what I'm trying to do is establish an understanding so that the person doing the tuning can look at something and say, oh, this is why they did that. Or change something and say, this is what is going to happen. Not change and go, I wonder what's going to happen. Is it going to like this? They should be looking and go, oh, this should create a positive response due to these things that I did. And so what I'm trying to do is get the people, you know, young tuners or people just curious to understand those fundamentals so that they too can say, you know, this is what's going to happen. And so it's been a good time. I've met some cool people, and I'm really hoping that that more people show up and join the discussion and bring with them their questions and their experiences and that kind of stuff. I definitely would like more people, you know, involved in it. Right now there's about 100 people or so that are in the channel. Oh, that was your car? You're okay. Now I know. So you're Jordy. Right on, Jordy. Well, I'm glad that helped a ton. And like I was saying, that's the burn speed, right? And so to those that don't know, we talked about burn speed. How fast does the flame propagate in a cylinder based on various conditions, including fuels, temperatures, pressures, cam timing, you know, all that kind of stuff. So broke out cylinder pressure, traces and graphs that show how much of the mixture is burned by a certain crank angle, engine torque. Like, we covered all kinds of stuff really in depth, and that stuff is still there to be seen. If you're a subscriber, that lesson is there. It's in a module on the channel. It's a text channel, and so you can go there and follow along. And the way I typically do it is I start the lesson off with some information, some videos, some references, some pictures, some discussions, and that kind of stuff. And then I open it up to questions, and then I address those questions, and then further expand on, you know, on all of that. So it's easy for me to help people with it because I can do it when I'm available. I can sit on the shitter and freaking log in Discord and answer some questions. I can, you know, on the dyno while I'm flashing a car. Flashes aren't fast. They take a while sometimes, so it's flash. I pull it up. I answer some questions. Sitting on my computer at night, doing some work emails. I also have Discord open, and I'm talking to the guys. If I'm gaming, I'm talking to the guys, and sometimes I just sit and just straight talk to the guys and answer questions about tuning. And then there's things that I don't know they ask. I'm like, I don't know the answer to that, but let's find out. You know, let's think about it. And then I'll say, well, let's go along this path and see things that would affect that. And then let's go on this path. And then let's find some papers, and I'll find papers online because people do a lot of research on engines, and then we'll post those up and talk about them and interpret the data and that kind of stuff. So it's fun. It's nerdy a little bit, but if you're looking to really understand what's going on in an engine and get you closer to on par with what the OEM calibrators know, and get yourself in a position to where when a tuner does something, you're like, oh, well, he's doing that because of this, or it works because of this. He's doing it because he thinks plus means more, right? A lot of tuners do that, like, oh, let me just add some fucking timing to that, plus, right? And sometimes that works, and sometimes it doesn't, you know. But what are you doing when you hit plus a bunch, right? Like, what's going on in the engine? And so I want my students to understand what's going on in the engine, because when I see an engine, I see, you know, the point of ignition and the propagation of the flame through the cylinder, and I see the chemistry involved in it, and the heat transfer, and where that heat's going, and, you know, what the pressures are doing, and that kind of stuff. And I realize that in that way I have a unique talent, but I want to be able to try and share that and find others with that ability to see the interactions of things. I want to find somebody else like me in that regard, but I definitely want to be able to try and open up people's minds and let them also see things like that. So obviously I have a lot of education on my belt, and so I don't expect everyone to know all the forms of heat transfer, and I don't expect them to know, you know, how it all works and be able to look at a heat exchanger and go, oh, that one will work and that one won't. and that kind of stuff. That's where experience comes in, and you know, live education. But hopefully, I can inspire somebody to take those extra classes or to learn, you know, just more, just to learn. I'm learning every day. I love to learn. Pardon my French. I love to learn. I apologize for swearing. I never loved to swear. Fuck that. Anyways, so I just want everyone to, you know, in the channel to expand their knowledge and to have a good time doing it, and also play some fucking games. I want to shoot people in the face. You know, like we enjoy doing that. Or playing Viking Minecraft or whatever, you know, whatever it is that you guys want to do. We do that too. Counter-Strike and Apex and Rocket League and all that stuff. We goof off, play games too. Not as much as I would like, but we definitely do. So yeah, swing by the Discord link. The invite to it is actually on my website on shop.getadomtune.com, where the store is, and then you go into the subscription. If you go under tuning, then you'll see there's a subscription for the Discord server, and there's a link in the description there. And you don't have to subscribe to get into the server. You just have to subscribe to get into the tuning section of the server. But there are a lot of tuning questions that are asked in general that I do answer. I help people out in the general section. But I try and keep the tuning stuff in tuning. But general and the motorsports section have a lot of tuning stuff too. But it's not organized. It's random shit, right? Whereas the actual lessons, the modules, are organized by topic. Right now there's only 2, but they're pretty long. The timing one is pretty long. We cover Ignition Advance in great detail as to why you do it and what it's really doing and all of that. So anyways, I'm gonna go here into UPS. Hold on a second, sorry, the question. Let me address that really quick. Let's see what we got. Over here, one sec. How much do I have to donate for you to get a fucking haircut? I got a haircut, dumbass. No more mullet. Hey, I got your car. I'll fucking set the thing on fire. You keep talking trash to me. Set record 97 degrees. Hottest day since 1939. Nice. I mean, recorded history, right? Since 39. Let's see. Global warming. Yeah, I don't know. It's climate change. It's colder in some places, right? It's colder in some and hotter in others. The guns are considered like pistols. Interesting. Spinny, spinny, spinny. What would be an OK turbo for bolt-ons with no horsepower? If you just want to optimize my bolt-on setup with front mount intercooler in mind. To answer that question, stock. I mean, the factory injectors are maxed out by the stock turbo, so you're not going to get anything more than that. Putting on a turbo bigger than the injectors is going to get you more lag and the exact same horsepower, maybe like 10 more, you know, and that's it. You're going to be out of fuel again. So I don't know what you're saying. Now, if you have injectors, then we need to figure out what you're going to do for, you know, fueling and how big you're going with that. But my favorite stock location turbo, if you have the supporting fuel in a front mount, would be like a DOM15. That's my favorite stock location turbo. It's got good spool, it's got good power, it flows like 48 or something pounds per minute. The DOM15 is my favorite stock location turbo. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you, that's not enough power for me. None of my cars that I would enjoy driving are going to be stock location turbo. Now, the exception of the car that Josh and I have, DZ can't drive. He's always talking shit, right? He and I have a 98L that we got from Eric DeWitt, or Dewey, the guy that drives the Boogeyman car. We bought a JDM swapped, well, JDM front end and a 205 swapped car that we ripped out the 205 because it was hurting. And we put a JDM 205 with ABCS on it, put his old VF, what put on, 48 I think, or 54, one of those two, on it, and a top mount. And in that light ass little car, that thing rips, you know. But the interior is fucking hammered. It's not something you would enjoy driving for a long period of time or anything. It's not a daily or anything. And yeah, it's only 300 some horsepower, but the car only weighs like 27 or 2,000 pounds, so that thing moves out pretty good. But in a modern full-size Subaru, the VF is just not going to cut it for me at all. And the Dom 1.5 is not going to cut it either. Definitely going rotated on everything I have because I like the G series turbos. The G25, 550 and 660 are ridiculous turbos. On my dyno with ethanol, almost 500 wheel horsepower, and they have like 400 foot-pounds of torque at like 3,000 RPM. Like they're ridiculous, ridiculous turbos. So much fun. So, you know, like I would never run a stock location turbo of any size on purpose on my own stuff because there's just so much better in rotate that you can get. You get faster spool and more horsepower with a rotated turbo than you can with any stock location turbo. There isn't the restriction of having a small compact housing on the turbine and a small compact housing on the compressor to jam into that stock location area and everything. You get a turbo with a turbine housing of the appropriate size. You get with like a 0.82 AR housing and a compressor housing that's the appropriate size for the airflow, so there's no extra restriction on there, and they just breathe. You have an inlet that goes right in the turbo with a big 4-inch filter, right? Tube that's however long you want it to be, but it's still a big ass 4-inch filter. You're not trying to feed a 55-pound turbo through a 3-inch inlet under the manifold that cramps down really skinny, gets behind the power steering pump, and then turns sideways and goes down a 2.7-inch, you know, pipe to a filter or some shit. Like, you're just not gonna get that performance out of it. Like, it's just not gonna happen. Rotated turbos of any size always outperform stock location aftermarket turbos. They just do. There just isn't anything that compares. Hey, there's a Super over there. Looks like an 06. That might actually be an STI. Looks kind of like WX STI cloney, but I think it might have the rear flares. So like for me, there's and you can't do a stock location G series turbo thinking you're going to get the performance out of it because you're not. The stock location turbos, the aftermarket ones that use Garrett housing and shit, like or center sections, they don't perform anywhere near what a fully rotated Garrett turbo performs, and they don't. On a couple cars, I had friends that had like Dom 3s. James Works had a Dom 3. He's one of the guys I did it for, and it was, you know, stock location 30R base turbo, and I was like, dude, you wanted more. I go, let's get rid of this shit, or let's just rotate it. It's a 30R, right? So you can take off the super housing and put on a Garrett housing, and so we made a T3 kit for it. Bolted it on. It spooled 250 RPM faster, made 31 horsepower. And we didn't even change the compressor on it. We left the factory fitment compressor cover from Blount on it. But because it was rotated, because the turbo housing geometry was better, and it was better for that turbo, we picked up better spool and more horsepower. And had we changed the compressor cover, which we very well could have, we just didn't at the time. But if we had done that, we probably picked even more power and got even more spool out of it because there wouldn't have been, you know, the small inlet. So stock location sucks, and people that say it doesn't, they're just wrong. They're just fucking wrong. Like, rotated is better in so many fucking ways. Better exhaust flow, better spool, better power, just better. So, I mean, if you really need stock location, then great. Then Dom 1.5 would be the one that I would run, but I wouldn't run for long because I wouldn't go and rotate anything that I had. And really, like, oh, but it's so expensive. It ain't that fucking expensive, right? You bought an up pipe, you bought a down pipe, you bought a turbo inlet, you bought an air filter, you bought, you know, all this shit, and then you buy a turbo. That almost all that equals out to what you get in a rotated turbo kit. You get an up pipe, you get a down pipe, you get a wastegate, you get a turbo, you get an in, right? Like, all that shit adds up. So if you don't buy all that shit and then you save up and get a rotated kit, then you're not out that much more money for a setup that's way better. Way better. Especially if you're going front mount. Like, there's all the room back there now. Way better. That's my rant about going freaking rotated, because everybody should do that. Let's see. Didn't pay much for it. Yeah. I got you, Cody. 1 second. Sorry. Daily driving to work right now. I had to read and reply. On the Dom 1.5 with the top mount on my high breaker dyno. Yep. That was pretty good. HX turbo, HX. I'm just gonna scroll by that, pretend I didn't see anyone post anything about an HX. No, don't run a fucking HX anything. You're talking to the wrong guy. If you want to run a whole set turbo, you're talking to the wrong fucking dude. Like, we're talking shit diesel turbos on NA or on gasoline 4 cylinders. You know, I'm not on that bandwagon at all. Like, that's insulting to me. Fuck that. HX whole set. Those things are trash. They spool like absolute ass. Don't make shit for power. You have to run super high pressure ratios for them to even get near a sweet spot. They don't match Supers at all. Supers don't want high pressure ratios. The engine doesn't handle that. The whole set is crap. The turbines aren't strong. The compressors aren't efficient. The setup it's crap. They're crap turbos. So yeah, I don't. Yuck. What size rear housing would you get for a G25 660 on a 207? I still get an A2. I would get an A2 because a lot of guys run smaller housings than that, but it doesn't make sense to me because when you run a tiny housing like a 6.3, you limit the total airflow of the turbo of what can go through it, and if you're gonna limit the flow because you want faster spool, then just get a smaller turbo. Right? So the 6.3 is really out of place in my opinion. I don't know many motors that a 6.3 or something in the 6 range like that would actually provide you any real gains. It seems to me that running that is more like a band-aid. Like, I'm stuck in between turbos or I'm stuck in between fitments and I need something, you know, small like that. Other than that, a 6.3, it's always a compromise, right? I mean, it's turbo. Everything turbo is a compromise. And so if you're going to get something like the G25 660, which spools really fucking fast already, yeah, I would you get a 550 then, really, right? Get a 550 in A2. Don't get a 660. The 660 is already working that 25 hot side a lot. Like the that turbo is a bit of a mismatch. Like, it's a bit of a mismatch. The compressor's already flows a ton of air over what that turbine can handle. So going a 660 with a 6.3 wouldn't make any sense at all. Just do a 550 and keep it all better balanced anyways. The 550 G25 spools even faster. Obviously doesn't make the same horsepower, but it's a better balance of a turbo out of it. Whereas like a 3660 or a 3770 is ridiculous. Those turbos are ridiculous too. So I would stick with the 25 550 if you really needed that spool threshold. Otherwise, definitely run the 660 and then always run the 82. It's just a nice, efficient area for all turbos. Oh, and speaking of which, I need to call myself out. I was wrong about something. I think I did it on stream. I don't recall. But I told somebody that I thought that the G Series turbo was the GTX compressors with new turbine style or new turbine design. And I was wrong. I don't remember who I told that to, but I was wrong. I looked into it some more and I was very wrong. Garrett frequently goes turbine, compressor, turbine. Like they change one half of the turbo, and then and run that. So look at like the GT series, and then to the GTX, right? The GTX was a compressor upgrade, and then the GTW, I forget which one that was, but anyways, they went from GT, then GTR, that's right, and then GTX. And then G, and I for some reason thought that the G was a GTX compressor with a newly designed turbine geometry. I was wrong. It's not. The G series is all new. New compressors, new turbines, everything. It's actually pretty interesting because the trim is so much larger on the G series compressors now. So before, the GTX 3076R Gen 2, we'll say that, the Gen 2 rips. That's what DZ has on his STI. That Gen 2 kicks ass. It's so much power. And so I just naturally thought that when they upgraded to the Gs, they went with a different turbine, and that really unlocked the power potential of the whole turbo. I was wrong. What they did is they increased the inducer size dramatically to where the 900 is a 76 mil exducer, which is the same size exducer as the 3076. What's crazy about that is now they're saying they're getting like 88 pounds per minute flow off a 76 mil exducer, and that's unheard of. That is freaking unheard of. So and I would like to go, oh well, they're lying, because turbo people always lie, but they're not. Like those, the 770, the 660, they are pushing some air. They're making some serious power, and it's because the inducer is larger. They have a higher trim. So I was wrong. I said that the G was GTX based compressor and just new turbine. I was wrong. It's new turbine and new compressor. Also, I really like those turbos. They're really compact. They shrunk them down. The center section is actually square, and it's like this wide. It's like really small, and it's just a compressor, then center section, and then turbine. It's really cool. Got some eyeball. But the G series turbos are really impressive. Modern Automotive Performance is having a sale on the G35 900. That's cheaper than I can get them wholesale for the Supercore. So I bought one. I didn't necessarily have a car for it, but the price was so fucking good, I bought one. And I'm gonna put it on the RS, I think. Still on the RS or on the STI, one of the two, but I thought about buying two and putting two of them on the Vet. That'd be fucking sweet, right? Two 35 900s on the Vet. That'd probably get out. But the Vet's high compression, so I can't do that. I'll do the other Vet. We'll do that for the other one. But yeah, so Modern Automotive Performance is a G35 900 on sale. It's like $13.50 or something like that for the Supercore. Then you still gotta buy the turbine housing, which is like $500 to $600 based on which one you get. So you're still spending, you know, almost $2,000 on a turbo. But it's the 35 900, which is way more power, and it's actually way cheaper for that than it is even just to get a 30, like a G30 770. So you're getting the 35 900 for less than. This motherfucker's crazy. Check that. This dude here drives around all the time, and all he does is stop traffic to wave at people and say and scream at people about America. I mean, he is like, you know, he's nuts. Dude's nuts. I don't understand, but he's hilarious. Speedy Ken ran a turbo dyno different housing and ended up with like the 1AR turbo and a 207. The power numbers they made didn't make sense. I was thinking of getting a 9.2 rear housing since that's the biggest Garrett makes. Garrett makes bigger than 9.2. Garrett makes a 105 and stuff too. The G series Garrett numbers don't come close to what they actually do. Well, that's not true. I've definitely seen the G series do what it's supposed to do for sure. Yeah. Fuel upgrade stage 3-ish Cobb versus IAG versus Radium. Well, Cobb is IAG, so I don't know what to say about that. Magic Dyno. Let's see. Brand oil on N8 engines. Let's see. I run Schaefer's on a lot of stuff. Depends on what it is. If it's direct injected, it's got to be Dexos oil, so not Schaefer's. Probably like Valvoline or you know, Pennzoil Platinum or something for direct injection engines. The 3071R. I don't know if it's. Here's that crazy again. If it's you just drives around, stopping traffic. 3071, if it's GTX Gen 2, it's a pretty decent turbo. If it's any prior generation, it's nothing compared to the newer ones. Nothing. Like, You might as well go back 50 years in turbo technology that compared to the new ones. The new ones just kick the shit out of the old ones. The Gen 2 3076 is fucking amazing. And then the G30 660 and 770 just stomp all over it. So the G25 660 is great, but just don't go with a 6.2. Stick with the 8.3 or 8.2 they have. Yeah, it's insane. That price is fucking crazy. Like I said, it's like $250 less than I can buy it for wholesale. So I bought it. I assume it's a typo. It's got to be a typo. I think it's a typo. And so I was like, I'm just gonna get on that in case it's not. And I got shipping notification today. I bought it like 4 days ago. I got shipping notification today, so it's on its way. Yeah, I don't know who said they're not making the power that they're saying, because yeah, I saw it was clearance. Because everyone I've seen is making the power it's claiming. I mean, the 660 or whatever it was, we made 518 wheel on my dyno on pump gas on 18 pounds of boost. 18 pounds, that's it. On pump gas, not even fucking ethanol. And it was on a 2.3 liter with stock unported heads and my cams. That thing made 518 on pump. Yeah, my cams had a lot to do with it. But the G30, fuck, I keep forgetting the 660 or 770. I forget which one it is, but I think it's a 660. But it was ripping, man. It did so good. So, and then I had a G25, like I said, do 500 wheel on ethanol, with just a ton of torque in the mid range. I had another 25 do 440 or 420 on pump gas, and my dyno reads low as shit. So, and that G25 was spooling. I mean, I was starting the pull at like 3,500, and at the start of the pull, I already had like 12 to 14 pounds of boost. It was silly. So, well, see, first off, there's a ton of idiots on the forums. Two, they love blaming bad setups on the turbo or the tuner, and you can guarantee it's fucking other things. You know, like, oh, my stroker 2 liter shit power on this turbo sucks. No, dude, it's your stroker 2 liter that sucks, right? And the G series turbo has a higher pressure ratio where it's the most efficient, especially the 900. At like 25 pounds of boost, it's what was it? At like 78 pounds or something like that, like really high up there, it was still 79% efficient. It was insane. And so anyone who can't make power on that kind of efficiency they have a setup issue, like plain and simple. I've never had one not perform amazing. And you know, stock cams, aftermarket, like the Legacy, they did 500 wheel on ethanol, completely stock heads, cams, ports, all stock. It just had a rotated turbo on it and a short block that was fucking tired as shit too, that I put together with a hammer. And so it made tons of power and drives freaking great. And yeah, it was the turbo. The turbo's good, you know. Or they have way too much volume in the exhaust, or they have not enough volume in the header, or whatever. There's all kinds of stuff that people blame on the turbo, but those turbos, they do perform. They have the stats, and if they can't make power on it, it's something else in the setup, you know. Like the dude's fucking stanced out, and he's got a shit alignment on the dyno, and he's like, oh, my car won't make power on this fucking turbo, it sucks. No, dude, it's the fact that you're turning 150 horsepower into heat with your freaking tires pointed towards each other and shit like that. So, yeah, I put it together with a hammer. I drove a wrist pin in with a fucking hammer and an extension. It wasn't going in. I got mad and shoved it in. Let's see. Like fucking 6 years ago. Yeah, dude, it's cheap. But again, there's no turbine housing on it, so you gotta get the housing too. But that's way cheap for that. That turbo's normally, you know, $1,800 for just the core. TD04 stock 2-liter. Well, again, if you don't have the fuel, then you can't run a bigger turbo. If you have a stock 2-liter with stock injectors, there is no other turbo but the TD04 because you will run out of fuel. You put a 16G on there, you run out of fuel by 4,000 RPM, run lean, smoke the motor. So there is no upgrade for that. Now, you upgrade the injectors and the fuel system and the intercooler, then a 16G XT with a 7cm housing on that thing would be awesome. You'd fucking really enjoy it. So again, it's important to know, you know, that you have the fuel. I have a customer that has an 05 STI, showed up with a larger turbo, left to the rev limiter set at 4,500. I was kind of upset about it. I was like, look, dude, here's your graph. Like, your AFRs go all the way to 13 by 4,500 because your duty cycle is already 100%. And if I run past that, close to red line, so it's 130%, and you're dangerously lean. You know, so like you got to upgrade the fuel system. I had another guy email me for a base map, and I said, it's not going to work, dude. You need bigger injectors for this turbo you have. And he got mad at me. Well, English Racing will tune my car. Why won't you? I said, I can tune your car. I won't because you're trying to blow it up. He got super offended and he got a little pissed off at me and started swearing at me and stuff. But, you know, it's not my fault he's a fucking idiot. I'm like, look, dude, I told you. You don't have the fuel. If you don't have the fuel, you can't use the air. And, yeah, so, what's his name? Brian Martinez or some shit like that? Fucking idiot. So, got mad at me because I told him that, won't tune your car, man. You gotta get bigger injectors, put a smaller turbo on it. Why won't you tune it? Why can't you tune it? Put me into a good tuner. That's what he said. Or the right tuner. Like, yeah, you emailed the right guy. You just had the wrong car. Yeah. So, you gotta have the fuel if you're gonna add the air. If you don't have it, you don't have it. Subaru matched the stock injectors to the stock turbo on every car except the 04 or the 0506 Legacy GT and the 0607 and 08 WRX. Outside of those, every year the turbo and the injectors max out within 10 horsepower of each other. So if you're going to upgrade the turbo, you have to upgrade the fuel system or you're just going to smoke the motor. It's going to run lean. Let's see what we got. I have the HX35. Yeah, I'll have fun with it. So, I mean, if you've never had another turbo other than whatever the stock turbo was, you're gonna be like, wow, this turbo is so cool, right? Which is how the HTA 68, I think it was called, or 68 HTA turbo, stayed in popularity for so long. That thing was absolute trash. FP had even said, we're discontinuing the turbo, and then he made a post and said, this turbo's fucking great, and forgot to mention in the post that the car was on ethanol, and made all this power on it, and people didn't realize it was on ethanol, and so they started flying off the shelves. And then a bunch of 2-liter buds that had never had another turbo were like, wow, this turbo's fucking awesome, and made it even more popular. But the fact was the turbo sucked. The turbo sucked. But they had never had any other turbo other than the stock one. So they put a turbo on, it made more power, therefore it was awesome. And so you're gonna put your 35 on there, it's bigger than what you got, you're gonna like it. But I'm telling you, it's trash compared to what you could have. So whenever you are ready for an actual upgrade past that, like maybe faster spool and more horsepower, you can go with almost anything else and you'll get that. Especially anything in the Garrett line. Obviously EFR line, but those are really expensive and require twin scroll setups and that kind of stuff. Although the HX is twin scroll by factory, isn't that one twin scroll? I know they have some that are and aren't, but if you do an actual twin scroll set, then EFRs are pretty amazing in that. They're not very durable, so don't go beating on them too much, but they move some serious air and they spool faster than just about anything. The whole shaft is lighter than fucking any other turbo. Although the G series is coming to rival that. The G series is really light too. I was feeling we have a G35 1050 at the shop right now, and that wheel has so little inertia. Part of that being that they went with the larger inducer and the smaller exducer to get the same airflow, and
by having a smaller exducer, you have less inertia in the wheel, and it's easier to spin it up. That's one reason why they spool up so fast. And then with a large inducer, there's less restriction to airflow. So every time that blade comes around, it gets a much bigger scoop of air. They're good. They're good turbos. People that can't make power, I don't know what they're doing. Or they fuck something up. Floating valves, bad setup, something. So, anyways, I got to put the packages off, and then I gotta go tune the 17 WRX. And what time is it? Yeah, I gotta do that. So, I'm gonna see if there's any more questions, and then I gotta bail if there's no more for me to answer. I hit the streaming tips learn more button on accident. Let's see, you gonna make a video on headers? I mean, I can make a video on headers. There's definitely more to them than most people understand. Yeah, I can do video on headers. Yeah, Ashton's right. Yeah, you should join the Discord channel and start asking questions about there. Because we definitely talk about all sorts of things. And we go in depth with it, like I said, and painful detail sometimes. Go Garrett in a year. Kind of from stock 52. Yeah, so I mean the 52 is a good turbo. 52 is a really good turbo. For a stock turbo, it's good. It spools really quick, makes good top end, especially if you stay on a top mount. You stay on a top mount, full boost in the 2000s, like they really rip. You go to a front mount, full boostings come into like the mid 3s or so. They're not nearly as good on a front mount, but with the small volume of the stock top mounts or other top mounts, they definitely stay really snappy, and they're good for that. A Honda Civic 5-second. I don't care about rust. As long as you got the budget, let's do it. Side design and take exhaust is a book from engineering class. Huh. Yeah. Put a link to that in the Discord channel or something. Let me know, or send me an email or something. I'd like to look that up and see what they got. It's not worth the money for the small gain. What's not worth the money? The headers? Yeah, I mean, what? But the V2 is a great deal. It's just you have minor mods. Well, the V52 and the STI Turbo are the exact same turbo. The center section and the wheels, they're identical between the STI Turbo and the V52. The only difference is the compressor wheel and the water lines. Compressor housing and the water lines, that's it. So, the V52 is an STI Turbo. It's the same flow, the same, I mean, even the center section, like I said, it's identical center section. When you go and rebuild the turbos, they're the same parts and everything. So, rust is way cheaper than carbon fiber. I mean, I can get salt for way less than I can get freaking carbon fiber. Yeah, so 52 and the STI turbos are the same flow rate. Same shit. I joined the Discord. What's your name on there? I'm the Dom. On the far right, for admins, I'm the Dom. So it's Veiled Scream, the Dom is what in parentheses. That's me. So, all right, guys, I'm gonna go get the packages off. I've occupied this parking space for a long time, and people are coming in and going. I'm just asking to get fucking hit by this Ford pulling in right now, who's kissing the curb and 3-pointing. Make that 5-pointing this parking job. So I'm nervous enough. See you guys later. Thanks for stopping by.